Okay, so I've been debating whether to post this for a while, but it's one of those stories that still gives me chills when I think about it. It happened a few years ago when I was 19, and it's the reason I always trust my gut now. I'll try to keep it short, but it's kind of a wild ride. So, back then, I was working part-time at a bookstore. I loved the job, quiet, peaceful, and surrounded by books. But one Friday night, I was closing up late, and I was so tired. All I wanted was to go home, put on my pajamas, and just zone out in front of the TV. I clocked out, said goodbye to my manager, and headed out to the parking lot. It was one of those crisp fall nights, you know? The kind where the air feels sharp and the sky is so clear you can see every star. The parking lot was mostly empty by then, and my car was parked way at the back, under one of those flickering streetlights. You know the kind. They always look like they're about to die, but they just keep going. I remember thinking how creepy it looked, but I shrugged it off and started walking. I had my keys in my hand, like my mom always told me to do, and I was just about to unlock my car when I noticed Hun. He was standing near the edge of the lot, leaning against this beat-up sedan. At first, I thought he was just waiting for someone, maybe a friend or a coworker, but something about the way he was standing made me stop. He wasn't moving, wasn't looking at his phone or anything. He was just staring at me. I told myself I was being paranoid, that I was just tired and my brain was playing tricks on me. But the closer I got to my car, the more I could feel his eyes on me. It was like this weird, heavy feeling, like I couldn't breathe properly. I was fumbling with my keys, trying to unlock my car as fast as I could, but my hands were shaking so much that I dropped them. They hit the ground with this loud clatter, and I swear my heart skipped a beat. I bent down to grab them, and when I stood back up, he was closer. Not a lot, just a few steps, but enough to make my stomach drop. He was tall and skinny, with this pale, almost sickly look to him. His eyes were dark, and they were locked on me like he was trying to see right through me. He said something to me, but I don't even remember what it was. All I know is that my brain was screaming at me to get in the car, to lock the doors and drive away as fast as I could. But I couldn't move. It was like one of those nightmares where you're trying to run, but your legs won't work. I managed to mumble something. I think it was "no, sorry," but my voice was so quiet I wasn't even sure he heard me. He took another step forward, and that's when I finally snapped out of it. I yanked the car door open, threw myself inside, and locked the doors. My hands were still shaking as I started the engine, and I didn't even realize I was crying until I was halfway home. When I finally got there, I just sat in the driveway for a while, trying to calm down. I told myself it was nothing, just some weird guy in a parking lot. Maybe he really did just need a light. But deep down, I knew better. There was something about him, something cold and off, that made my skin crawl. I tried to forget about it, but the memory kept coming back like a shadow I couldn't shake. Fast forward a few weeks, and I'm at this coffee shop with my best friend, Sarah. We're just hanging out, laughing about stupid stuff, when I see him again. He's sitting at a table near the window, staring right at me. My stomach dropped, and I felt like the room was spinning. Sarah noticed something was wrong and followed my gaze. I told her it was the same guy from the parking lot, and she didn't hesitate. She got up, walked over to his table, and said something to him. I couldn't hear what she said, but he just smiled. This cold, empty smile, and got up to leave. As he walked past our table, he looked right at me and said, "See you around." I don't think I've ever been so scared in my life. Sarah tried to reassure me, but I couldn't shake the feeling that he wasn't done with me. I started looking over my shoulder everywhere I went, double-checking the locks on my doors, avoiding places where I thought he might be. It was exhausting, living like that, but I didn't know what else to do. A couple of weeks later, I got a call from Sarah. Her voice was shaking, and I could tell she'd been crying. She sent me a link to a news article, and my blood ran cold. It was about a man who had been arrested for stalking multiple women in the area. He'd been following them, showing up at their workplaces, even breaking into one of their homes. The article included a photo, and there, he was the same man from the parking lot, the same man from the coffee shop. I felt sick. All those weeks of fear, of looking over my shoulder, came rushing back. But there was also this weird sense of relief. He was behind bars. He couldn't hurt me anymore. Still, the whole thing changed me. I'm more cautious now. more aware of my surroundings. I trust my gut in a way I never did before. And I've learned that sometimes the scariest things aren't the ones that go bump in the night. They're the ones that look like ordinary people, hiding in plain sight. So creepy parking lot guy? Let's not meet ever again.